if you start stacking and more isn't better when it comes to music production. So would you follow me, follow me? Hey guys, welcome to the studio. Today it's Friday, a very busy Friday. Today I started making music again since my last song, Save the Day, is fully finished and scheduled for release. It should be out in a couple of days exclusive on Beatport with a feature, banner and all that good stuff, and 2 weeks later as a stream download on all other stores. If you're interested, I'll link it down below if it's already out. I don't know, but you definitely heard it in the intro. That's the song. I absolutely love it. So it's time to make some fresh stuff, some new stuff. So I would love to address some tips and tricks whenever you start out a new song. The start can be quite frustrating because you get stuck or you work half an hour and then you just lose focus, lose interest, and you just like start something else again. That's actually something that isn't too bad, because my first tip, and I've mentioned it already a couple of times, is rough sketching. I do it all the time. On a day where I start a new song, I actually start multiple new songs. Usually 5 to 10 within like a day, 2 or 3, depending on how much time I have. And then I wait a day, listen to all of them again and pick the best one out of them. And that's the one that I then finish and try to get vocals for. Otherwise, you're just losing way too much time. Do rough ideas and pick the best idea. The next one is something very basic, very obvious, I think. Start always with a kick or like a very simple drum kind of groove, sample it somewhere else. I make electronic dance music, so for me it's usually just like a 4 to the floor kick. It sounds very boring, but it's good to have it. Very simple, just something there. It's more fun to record to a nice punchy kick drum and like crank it up a little. When it's louder, it's just a little more fun, at least while you're in that creative mood. Don't record to a click. That's usually Definitely always have something like an auto load, a preset, a template, something you start with. If you just open up Logic, Ableton, or whatever kind of DAW you're using, it's just rough. There's so much you need to add, and it's such a waste of time, and it kills creativity. Whenever I go to a session with a singer-songwriter, I have stuff already done, at least like a little, so we can start working. If I need to start like selecting kicks and claps for hours and hours, it just kills the vibe. So having something in there, it could be, as in my case, for example, let's see if this project has it. I have a couple of buses ready, with like 3 reverbs for like kick, drums and that kind of stuff, a tape delay ready, maybe an echo boy, crystallizer ready, some distortion ready, like stuff you can just roughly apply really quick. Some people even always start with the same template that has already the kick in there, maybe already a snare, maybe already some simple piano in there as a preset, so you can start writing the song. Whenever I can, whenever I have like a main melody that I like, and we're all the same, all producers, we listen to a loop, we listen to like 8 bars constantly. This can drive you really mad and kind of make something that is actually good really bad, because you're listening to it for hours. The normal music listener just for like 2 or 3 minutes. That's a huge difference. So what I like to do really early on is to start automating at least like the main synthesizer sound, the main thing in there, to have some movement in there so it doesn't get that boring. If you don't have any movement in there, if it sounds constantly the same, you'll get bored and annoyed, and then take something else and get bored again, and then take something else, get annoyed again. And this way you start switching the main part of your song and never kind of get anywhere. So really start like giving it a little automation, just a hit. It just helps so much. It just instantly makes it more interesting, and you can keep it. Like, you anyways have to do it. Why not do it like at the very beginning and make it more enjoyable for you, and also closer to like the finished product. Very crucial, always keep your ideas while you're like doing these rough sketches. For example, this one right here just started like a couple of minutes ago. It's just like kind of a sub bass and kick, snare, and the main synth. Very boring, very early stage, but I kept all of the other ideas, so I can now go to the other tracks. I think this is the same melody, just another synth. here's something entirely different. It was just like a groove that I had that kind of works. This might be an idea for another track. Always keep it in there. Also in Logic, you can go to File, Project, Alternatives, New Alternative, and can save them down. Because sometimes you just like think about your song while you're not working and you're like, hey, this idea really early on was really cool, and there is no way to get it back. So if you save it, if you keep it in there, you can go back, rescue it, and maybe start another song. For example, right here, just this part, and maybe another sub bass to kick. Could be the start of something new. Also, at the same time, another tip, if you have too many ideas in one song, split them up into 2 songs or 3 songs, or keep it for later, and then you have, again, more alternative rough sketches you can choose from. This right here already like 2 songs. You could never ever fit this into one song, at least not one club song, and make it work. It's weird, and also like the keys are different. It just doesn't make any sense. Next up, also very important, if you're not satisfied with the sample, especially like drum hits, one-shots, just change it. Just change it to another sample. At the early stage, altering, EQing, compressing, reverb, doesn't matter. Like, get it to a good starting point for mixing and putting reverb on top and like making it really fine. Like, get there by selecting the right thing. If you select a very 80s sounding clap or snare, it just doesn't have anything to do in a very deep techno kind of song. So just switch it to something else. Right here, if I don't like the kick, I just switch to another kick. That one is too rough. That one is nice and clean. That's usually how I do it. It takes a little longer, kind of. It's more frustrating because you have to search and click and click and click for the right sample, but it will lead to better results. Polishing something that just doesn't belong there is impossible. It's a big waste of time. Another one, very controversial, or actually not that controversial, like loops. Some people see it as cheating. I personally hate loops. I almost never ever use loops, but in the early stage, where I just want to make something fast, or I'm in a session with a singer-songwriter, I just drag loops in there to have something in there, a feel. If there's something really cool that I like, I recreate it. If I really absolutely love the loop and the song breaks apart without it, I keep it. The song is the most important, not your ego if you're using loops or not. So right here, a Cashmere loop, I personally don't like them that much because they're overused and not so good, but I have it in there just for the feel. Just a simple shaker loop. With shaker loops on top, like they sound the best when you record them yourself, because you can give it that like swing and groove. Programming it in is really not advisable. So yeah, for shakers, loops are fine. Then the very last point, maybe the most important, especially for beginners, I'm guilty of it as well. Keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. Keep as little elements in the song as possible at the beginning. Just like kick, snare, maybe some hi-hats, maybe some shakers, a main sound, a main synthesizer sound, a main piano, a main instrument, I don't know, some brass kind of stuff, or a vocal. Just like keep it to a minimum. If it works very minimal, it's way easier to mix. It's way more convincing. It's way easier to listen to for other people. Try to keep it like uncluttered, less complex, simple and easy and beautiful. If you start stacking and more isn't better when it comes to music production. Less is more, definitely 100%. Don't clutter up your song and then be like, why can't I mix it? And only if necessary, if it starts to get boring or it's not too much throughout the entire song, then maybe add something. But again, add minimal kind of objects and stuff. Don't add a new main melody, that's just like confusing. Add ear candy, add automation, add like little tiny effects here and there. That's what's usually keeping songs interesting over time, but still minimal. I think that's like the key main thing when it comes to producing modern music. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. I will continue rough sketching a bunch of stuff that sounds like crap, as this one right here, to eventually end up with something that sounds hopefully amazing and will be released very soon. Don't forget the new song, Save the Day. I'll play it to you again in the outro. It will be released on Lost Frequencies label in, I don't know, in a couple of days on Beatport, and then again on the, I think 27th on all platforms. So yeah, definitely check that one out. Thanks a lot for watching. Sign out.